Tonight, Telecom Niue Limited declares $150,000 dividend to Niue government. Premier Tangelangi on the cost of living. And 4 young men left Niue to study plumbing in Samoa. I'm Saraya Mangawa and welcome to our BCN News. Leading our news tonight, 3 weeks ago, the Niue Assembly passed the second reading of the 4 constitutional amendment bills invoking a 13-week stand-down period to allow for public consultations. With only 10 weeks to go before the 4 bills are returned to the Assembly for the third reading, there isn't much information from the Constitution Review Committee about public meetings or invitations for the public to discuss the 4 bills. Furthermore, it is now clear that the Assembly at its last meeting approved that all 4 bills, if passed the third reading and supported in the public referendum, will come into immediate effect during this 18th Assembly. Here's more with Esther Bavihi.
After the first reading of the 4 bills, which passed in March, the bills were referred to the Constitution Review Committee before returning for the second reading 3 weeks ago. It's understood that initially the bills to change the name from Premier to Prime Minister and to change the name of the Office of the Auditor General of New Zealand were to come into immediate effect. The other 2 bills to increase the number of cabinet from 4 to 6 and to increase the term of the Assembly from 3 to 4 years were not clear on when they would come into effect. BCN News can now confirm that after the second reading 3 weeks ago, these bills will also come into immediate effect this 18th Assembly. We reached out to the Crown Law Office to explain why there were changes made to the timing of when these 2 bills will come into effect. However, the Government Solicitor General, Justin Kamupala, said that he would not be able to respond to the bills tabled and passed 3 weeks ago because they were not the bills drafted by the Crown Law Office. Kamupala said that he understands the Constitution Review Committee chose not to use the bills drafted by his office and opted to draft their version, which included the changes as to when Bills 2 and 3 will come into effect. The changes put forth by the CRC, or Constitution Review Committee, mean that concerning the increase to the members of Cabinet from 4 to 6, if passed the third reading and supported by the public referendum, the law will come into immediate effect this 18th Assembly. Likewise, for the increase of the term of Assembly from 3 to 4 years, if passed the third reading and voted for in the public referendum, the changes will come into immediate effect in this election cycle, and that means that the country will not go back to the polls until 2027. The government's Solicitor General said that the public should be aware that amending the Constitution is a democratic right, so please participate and have your say at the referendum regardless of the outcome. Be informed and make an informed decision on the issues proposed, said Justin Kamupala. If any or all of the 4 bills are not passed at the third reading at the Whanokepule in 10 weeks' time, then the bills will lapse and will not go to a public referendum. BCN News will continue to follow the progress of the constitutional amendments in our future bulletins. Esther Pavihi for BCN News.
Telecom Niue Limited established a company and part of the government's state-owned enterprises in 2016 presented the Niue government with a check for $150,000 on Tuesday.
Chairperson of the Telecom Board, Avi Rubin, told BCN News that this is the first time Telecom Niue has paid a dividend to the government and they hope to be able to pay annual dividends, which is a portion of Telecom's profit. Rubin says that Telecom is self-sufficient as a business entity of the government with a staff of around 32 who are all proud to be able to generate a profit for the first time in 8 years. He says that for Telecom Niue, it is about balancing and providing the best service and offering the best price for the people of Niue and Telecom customers. Acting Premier Honorable Carsley Tatui stated that since July 1st of 2016, when Telecom Niue Limited was incorporated and formally registered as a private company under the Niue Company Act 2006, it has faced numerous challenges. Honorable Tatui says despite the struggles, they are delighted to have reached a significant milestone where the board presented a dividend to the government of Niue. Mersatkala, BCN News.
The Pacific Community SPC, in a press release, welcomed the advisory opinion and the role that evidence-based Pacific science has played in the ruling by the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea. The tribunal handed down a unanimous opinion that found states have a legal obligation to monitor and reduce their emissions on the marine environment that contribute to climate change. Director of Climate Change and Environmental Sustainability Coral Pasisi at the Pacific Community explains more on this.
Director of Climate Change and Environmental Sustainability at the Pacific Community, Coral Pasisi, says this is a critical ruling by the International Tribunal Law of the Sea.
The recent ruling of the International Tribunal on the Law of the Sea, their legal opinion in relation to whether or not greenhouse gas emissions, which are causing climate change, can be considered a pollutant under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, and whether or not, if that is the case, what are the obligations of the states parties to UNCLOS, that law, to deal with it, right, and support the people that are affected by it. This is a really critical ruling and outcome and a legal opinion from this body.
Pasisi also explained the significant role that the Pacific Community plays on this ruling.
In addition to SPC submitting its written and oral presentation, I think it's important to note that our own Pacific countries have led this work, right? So. And Tuvalu was co-chair at the time of COSIS, and they put in a strong fight to get the request agreed to in the first place. So we are only able to provide the type of evidence that we can, the scientific evidence and the knowledge that comes from our traditional practice, etc., because we cooperate and work with our member countries to be able to do that.
She also elaborated on how significant this ruling will be for COP29 that will be held later this year.
Now it means that we've got two big bodies who meet regularly, are accountable, and should be putting funds into supporting both the gathering of information about how the environment is changing, the marine environment, as well as providing funding support to countries who are affected. So before we only had the climate change COP process guiding certain financing mechanisms of the COP and of the UNFCCC, now there should be processes being established under UNCLOS to do similar such work. One of the major challenges we've had in the UNFCCC process, in the COP, is we can't progress oceans, right? So Fiji championed this very hard for a number of years at Paris, after Paris, to try and get a standalone work program on oceans. The excuse has always been that oceans needs to be dealt with by UNCLOS, not by the UNFCCC and COP. Which is why we still don't have a work program on oceans, why it's hard to get funding for science monitoring of the ocean environment, etc. So this is a win for us in that we're now being told by the highest legal bodies that we need to make sure that this is dealt with by both, and we'll work together to ensure that we cover the gaps in oceans which currently exist in the climate change space.
The International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea is an independent judicial body established by the 1982 United Nations Conventions on the Law of the Sea. Mersa Takala, PCN News.
The cost of living is no new issue for locals on the island. Inflation has seen the increase of goods and products for most businesses and shops on the island. In an interview with Premier Honourable Dalton Tangilanghi last week, explained some of the reasons for Niue's rise in the cost of living since last year.
Inflation, cost of living in New Zealand, unfortunately we have to inherit that. And this is one of the clear messages will be discussed also with the Prime Minister, that everything that happens down there, it's a ripple effect. We inherit it here.
Premier Tangilanghi says that the government of Niue has been working with the tax department on reforms to go through cabinet for consideration.
We're doing our best. We're going through the tax reforms with options to come before cabinet very soon to consider, and how that we can help our people. It's unfortunate for us. We don't make money here in the sense of export, and that's where that really we're pushing hard for exports, of course, but we're not really in that market.
The new statutory boards was tabled last Thursday, but members for each board are yet to be finalised. Premier Tangelangi says that the key one is the Price Control Board, which will monitor the selling of groceries, goods and products to make sure their markups don't go beyond what's stated in the Act. In a press release on Monday, the Niue Police and Health Department was alerted to an injured crew member of a sailing vessel. The vessel SV Pure Fun had run into some rough weather and seas en route to Niue, resulting in damage to the vessel and significant injuries to a crew member. The vessel arrived in Niue waters around 4:30 on Monday morning, carrying out a search and extracting the injured crew member from the vessel. The patient was transported to the Niue Fall Hospital, where he received medical treatment. According to our sources, he is in stable condition and awaiting medevac by the end of the week. His medevac is covered by his employer's insurance. The Kise Kise Kaina program, or village inspection program, has begun this week, beginning with Hikutavake village. According to the Niue Public Health Division Facebook post, they were thrilled to announce the collaborative efforts of Public Health, Department of Environment, the Project Management and Coordination Unit PMCU, Rescue Fire, and the Department of Utilities Building Division. The team thanked the village of Hikutavake for their dedication and hard work in cleaning up their surroundings for the inspections. The village inspection program aims to promote a healthy and clean living environment for everyone on the island. The 2022-2023 State of the Public Service Annual Report was tabled by the Niue Assembly 2 weeks ago. According to the report, 2022-2023 State of the Public Service Annual Report, when it comes to the Ministry of Infrastructure under their Department of Utilities, Regulatory and Compliance Division, some of the achievements was the construction of a temporary office after demolishing part of the main office and surplus due to underutilized office refurbishment budget and key regulatory positions remaining vacant. One of the challenges including having no vehicle for project and building inspections. Opportunities included becoming more involved in the development of projects from the outset and developing guidelines for building permits to incorporate new building code amendments. Over the next few weeks, BCN News will be covering the report from the various departments and ministries. A consultation was underway this week by the Food and Agriculture Organization, or FAO, with various women's groups on the island. The country gender assessment of the agriculture and rural sector aims to enhance awareness and understanding of gender perspectives in rural livelihoods in Niue. FAO's National Project Specialist Ofania Ikiua, who is based in Niue, shared more on this.
Mainly today they focus on the Ariwutu women's as because the FAO has been with us for quite some time before. So I think Dr. Williams is here to talk to us about those gaps. It wasn't complete in the last meeting we had. And I must say, it's quite good. I was so happy about it.
The consultation was facilitated by New Zealand-based consultant Dr. Nuhisifa Williams. Aliutu Women's Group President Mana Talangi says the FAO team are back to address the gaps on where they left off in their last meeting.
So this week we held a number of engagements with local women, and the purpose of those engagements are really to understand the perspectives of our women around what are some of the challenges, what are some of the opportunities for them in terms of agriculture development, and we hope that at the end of the conversations that we're able to produce a report for FAO that would help inform some of the programs and policies that could be implemented in the future.
The assessment will offer baseline data on gender inequalities and access to essential productive resources, assets, services and opportunities. In the essence of following our former Niue High School students who have pursued tertiary education abroad, last week 2 former Niue High School students graduated from their respective tertiary institutions, including Clemencia Talo Sioneholo and Jaquin Talangi Hekesi. Family and friends showed their love and support at their graduation day. Talo Sioneholo graduated with her Bachelor of Science degree from Victoria University of Wellington. Families and friends gathered to support and celebrate Talo's successful achievement. In their Facebook post, the New Zealand High Commission to Niue congratulated Talo, who was a New Zealand Manaki Scholarship recipient. Clemencia Sioneholo, throughout COVID-19, persevered with her studies at Victoria University in Wellington. Her dedication towards her field of study has allowed her to successfully complete her course of study. Talo will be returning to Niue to complete her 2 years of service. Jaquin Talangi Hekesi graduated with her diploma in cookery from the Manukau Institute of Technology, MIT. Looking ahead, Jaquin has secured an international culinary internship in France on a 7-month attachment as a chef at a refined French cuisine restaurant. She has also been offered the opportunity for a 2-year job placement for the same restaurant. After returning from France, Jaquin says she will cross-credit her practical studies in France towards a Bachelor in Culinary Arts degree before returning to Niue. Congratulations to our recent graduates for their successful achievements in their academic journey. Photo acknowledgements to their families and friends. Staying in tune with academic studies, 4 young men departed the island bound for Samoa last week. According to the Australia High Commission to Niue Facebook post, the men are Hunter Harding, Belenato Vaonga, Origen Tukuitonga, and Jekonaya Okisene, who will complete a Certificate 2 in Plumbing made possible through the Australian Pacific Training Coalition, APTC. We wish them all the best and look forward to their return. And finally, tonight on our special feature segment, we cover the story of popular Niuean vlogger Gerard Heko, or otherwise known to many as Jay, whose popular Life on the Rock channel has provided insights on island life since he began in 2021. Here's more on this story.
Showcasing the chilled and laid-back lifestyle on the Rock, as his channel name suggests, from heading to popular swimming spots, fishing and farming in his plantation, family functions, and to the much-anticipated Sunday lunches videos, Jay never thought that when he began his YouTube channel a few years back, that he would be earning an income from it. Receiving his first paycheck seemed too good to be true, but it was.
To be on a consistent basis, we started in July 2021. But I already tried before then. And if you do go on our channel and you look at our earlier videos that we have, there short clips that we have, I was just trialing it out. The main thing that held us back then was the connection of the internet. It was really slow. So when we had the Manatua cable, I think that came in effect on March 2021. Then I tested it again on our first video, July 2021. And that's when I saw that the speed is pretty good. It was able to upload in a decent speed. So yeah, that's when we started. Otherwise, if our internet here was fast, I think I might have started earlier.
The former certified pilot and teacher shares the inspiration behind the setup of his YouTube channel. Jay started with only 13 subscribers to now over 13,000 subscribers and growing. One of his most popular videos was how to harvest taro with over 329,000 views.
The inspiration mainly, I used to think about my dad, my granddad, grandmother, and you know, when they're gone there, you miss them, and then you wish that we have a lot of footage that we can just watch. I wish that they're on YouTube, so I can just always go and watch and just to reminisce. And from there, I used to think, you know, one day I'll be gone too, and it'll be good to have something back for my kids, grandkids, hopefully to go and have a look in, so they'll know, oh, that's our grandpa, blah, blah, blah. So first and foremost, that's the main reason why I want to have something like that on there.
As a part-time vlogger, Jay also shares on the challenges of vlogging.
I'd say that will be one of the main challenges, just the time. Because I'm not at a stage where I'm doing this full-time like other people, where you can concentrate purely on the content creating and all that stuff.
His advice to anyone on The Rock wanting to do vlogging on YouTube is don't let fear hold you back, and there is definitely a market for it.
I've always been trying to encourage them to get on with it, work on their channels and get monetized, because there's another way of getting finances to help them, help their families. Because that's how it's been doing for me now. It's just helping us out. And how I look at it also, it's good because this is money coming out from outside of Niue, coming into Niue, and it's helping build our economy. And imagine if we have like, say 100 people doing this kind of thing and bringing in $1,000 a month or more. You know, there's potential to make way more than that. That'll just help build up our economy here on Niue and improving their lifestyle as well.
You can subscribe to Jay's Life on The Rock on YouTube channel with his weekly uploads on Fridays and Sundays. Mersa Takala, BCN News.
Before we end our news tonight, this will be my final bulletin presenting for BCN News. I'd like to extend my heartfelt appreciation to the team here at Broadcasting Corporation of Niue and wish them all the best in their journey ahead. And to all of you who have continued to tune into our news bulletins, thank you. Wishing everyone a great rest of the year. Be happy and be kind. I'm Soraya Mangawa signing out for BCN News. Until we meet again, good night.